Guys, I got embarrassed the other day.
Why?
I have so much respect for artists now, and like I'm gonna try to be a much more kind concert goer because I did karaoke.
Oh
And
shit!
that was the scariest thing I've ever done in my life.
What'd you sing?
I have never. Me and Selena did "Kiss Me Through the Phone" together.
It's a good
I
one.
never think twice about this. Radio, all that stuff, public speaking, meetings, not even an issue for me.
Yeah.
That was the scariest thing I've ever done in my entire life.
Did you get good crowd response? Did they like it?
I don't know. I wanted to pass out the entire time. Like I swear to you, like I was literally like all that like stage fright, like everything. Like I want to black that out of my memory forever.
Singing in front of people is terrifying.
That was
Because like I'll sing like jokey joke all
Yeah.
the time, but as soon as I like actually am trying to sing, it could be in front of 5 people, just my girlfriend, a room. It doesn't matter. I get really nervous.
Yeah, and I think it's because we really like music
Yeah.
and we care about music. And like for me, it's like I know how I would talk about someone in the crowd doing that.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, everyone is probably thinking the same things that I'm thinking because there's no way this sounds good.
And just like bombing, that's like one of the more embarrassing things you can do is just like singing really badly in public.
But that's why
Well,
I'm
you're like trying.
kind of a little bit, but I'm like everyone else sounds bad too.
Yeah.
And it's not embarrassing when you have fun with it.
Yeah.
Like there's people who could go up there, bro. My girlfriend can go up there and doesn't think twice. Her friends, they all look like they was having a blast, and they ain't sound like no professional singers, but they look like they was having a good time. And like because they're into it and not taking it seriously, it's like, oh, no one's making fun of them. We know this is a joke.
Yeah.
That I was literally like shaking. I was like, oh my God, I want to run off this stage right now, bro. This is terrible.
Yeah.
You know my problem? All my karaoke songs, they're not like fun songs. All the songs I like to sing and know all the words to and sing loudly and sing moderately well are like ballads and stuff that it's gonna be like embarrassing and like kind of cringe. Me
Yeah.
up there singing residuals, you know? Or fucking what's the Brent Fayez song?
You're hilarious for singing any Brent Fayez song at karaoke.
I made it all. Oh my god.
L.A.
No.
Oh, Clouded.
Clouded.
Why are you singing though? What's your go-to karaoke song? That's what you have. Do you sing karaoke?
I haven't done karaoke in a long time. I think if I got up there today, I would do residuals.
The best one that I saw was American Boy. I feel like that one is like up tempo enough. There's enough rap verses to where you don't have to do too much vocally. You know what I mean? Because I feel like you have to do a song that the artist doesn't like sound that great in terms of like they're not singing. You know what I mean? Like it's attainable.
But see, like I just want to hit my runs.
So you don't give a fuck. So
You know
don't
what I
mind.
mean?
So you have no fear.
I want to, because I think I can sing a little bit.
Oh.
So you know what I mean? I look at this as an opportunity to show people.
What makes you think you can sing a little bit?
I've made videos.
Niggas commented on it like, oh, you sound good.
When I was in high school, I'd make some cover videos where I was singing and playing music.
Okay.
I've recorded some songs. Even today, I when nobody's in this apartment, you know, I record some videos of me singing and playing music, and then I run it back to hear how I sound.
O'Shea's the one that really can sing.
Yeah, I used to be in choir.
I know.
So yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think something about singing is very intimate and vulnerable. I remember when I was in choir in high school and my choir teacher wanted me to do a solo. I never actually volunteered for it because something about putting yourself out there in front of people that either you don't know very well or may not care for you or you don't care for them or may just not care about the experience in general it feels a little dangerous. You know? It feels a little dangerous. And yeah, I don't think I like karaoke for that same reason, because unless it's a small, intimate crowd and where it's very clear that we're all just having fun with it and there's no judgment being passed, I do feel like you automatically assume that people are passing judgment on something that is very vulnerable and very intimate, you know?
Yeah, no.
Bro, when I was in 7th grade, I was in drama and we were doing The Little Mermaid and I was cast as Sebastian. So I have 2 solos. It's Under the Sea and Kiss the Girl. And I'm on the second show. I'm kind of hitting my groove. I'm feeling good. And the second show is during the day, and it's when the entire school gets bussed out to the theater. And so my entire kindergarten through 8th grade is sitting there watching this show. And I kill Under the Sea, you know, it's time for Kiss the Girl. And so I say my cue line. It's like strings, you know, and I say it and the backing track doesn't play. And so I run it back, strings, you know, looking around, no music. one more time. Strings, no music. I don't know what to do. So I just go a cappella. No backing track. There you see her. And all my background singers, sha-la-la, they have my back. They went for it. So we just did like 2 minutes of it, just full a cappella.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
That's fire.
It was terrifying.
Yeah, nah,
That's
that's not my bag, bro. That was definitely a very, very vulnerable experience for me. I will never sing karaoke again.
Yeah,
in my
also,
life, ever.
fuck you guys
What you mean?
for calling me and saying, you like karaoke, right? You should come do karaoke with us. Okay, bet. Yeah, we're out right now. Yeah. Okay, send the details.
That was Selena.
No details get
That
sent.
was fully Selena.
Selena doesn't send me the details, just sends me a video of somebody singing karaoke.
Yo, there was a small, like 5'2" white man that originally, because like they had the cue at the top saying the next song's upcoming. At first it was Humble. And then like right before you just see it switch to TV off. And this nigga did TV off for 4 minutes. And every time it said nigga, he said playa. But it still felt a little charged. I was like, I don't like how you say that. And I don't think you say playa in your car. And then someone said they saw him do a line of coke outside the bar right after that. So it all checked out, you know?
Yeah.
What up, y'all? Welcome back to the Industry Plants podcast.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? New name, new vibes. Niggas been kind of plotting on some shit for a minute now. I'm Miles. To my left, I got Osei. To my right, I got Spencer. We are now a new name, new brand. Again, new vibes that I think really encapsulate what we're trying to push with the pod. I think if you guys have been rocking with us since the beginning, you know that this whole music shit, this entertainment industry shit has been some stuff that we've really tried to grow in, work in, be contributors to. And I think that as we've gotten older, we've actually, you know, achieved those goals and really started to make an impact in this. So I think it's fitting to now start with this new chapter. How are we feeling about the new name, guys?
It feels great, honestly, because I think Stereo Vision has always been our brand, our network, our collective, the overall brand. But this show has never really had a name. You know, it was always the Stereo Vision podcast because we were Stereo Vision, but I don't think that really told viewers enough about what this show was. So to me, Industry Plants is like really fitting because I think a lot of our value proposition is kind of giving people maybe behind the scenes look at the industry, you know, from Osei talking about what it's like and proper etiquette of being on the Rolling Loud stage, you know, shoulder shrug or no shoulder shrug, to you talking about like studio dynamics and important people to have in the studio and what makes a good mixing engineer. You know, we're going to talk about all the fun stuff that I think a lot of pods talk about, but I do think we can give a unique perspective, especially being young and in the industry.
Type.
And I love plants. You know, we've always had a lot of plants in our set. We've got a cool brand kit dropping that you'll see soon with new logos and stuff. So I don't know. It feels really good.
Definitely. I mean, I think that like as I've gotten older, I've also just realized like obviously I'm obsessed with music. I think we all are obsessed with music. And I think that it means a lot to me and I think all of us to be, again, active contributors to the culture and pushing this shit forward. And I think an important part for a lot of young people is like you could be passionate about this, but kind of finding your place in this whole thing. And like how you can use your skill set, use your talents, use your brain to actually push shit forward, even if it's not on the traditional producer, songwriter, the creative tip in that way. You could still figure out a way to be impactful in ways that I didn't know when I was fucking 15, 16-year-old dreaming about this, you know?
Totally.
Whether it's journalism, being on the business side of things, you know, like I think we all have aspirations to be entrepreneurial in this too. And I think it's necessary to also do that because there's problems in the industry. And there's things that I think we don't all necessarily agree with. And how can we be agents of change in that? And I think you guys are going to get to really see our journey into growing into those roles too.
Totally.
Yeah. Kind of like what you said. I think just building on that, I know that I'll always work in entertainment in some shape or form. And I think that has changed for me even to this day, right? Like I think I want different things than I wanted 2 years ago. And I definitely want to start outlining the journey. And I think it's important for us to also do that because at the end of the day, like the way that people conducted themselves 20 years ago in this shit is different than the way that you need to conduct yourself now, professionally, in your personal life, all this different type of stuff. And even on the business side, it's like you can work for a talent agency, you could work for a label, you could be a manager, whatever, but everybody is building their own personal brand in different ways. Yeah. And I think that that's important too. And so, I don't know. I like the name a lot. I feel like it's reflective of all that. And I would like to outline my own journey and our own journey via this platform in that way.
Definitely.
Yeah, and also the word itself is funny because it has this stigma, industry plants as being this nefarious like manufactured product.
Yeah.
But really, I think everyone should strive to be an industry plant as we are. You know what I mean? Because to me, what it means is really setting yourself up so when something hits, it all hits.
100%.
And it's super calculated. You know what I mean? Like, I think the two examples of people that are like the easy picks to call an industry plant right now are Tommy Richmond and Doechii. Two people that grinded for years, had really super great foresight and strategic planning, set everything up, were put in great positions, but really just made it so once that hit came through, once that Grammy came through, once that cosign came through, whatever it was, you cannot miss them because the plan was so solid. And it might feel like it's manufactured, but it was manufactured by the artist. You know what I mean?
And that's exactly what I think we're doing here too.
Yeah.
I think the foundation we've built, I think all the like, niggas don't give a fuck about the years of work you put in. They care about what happens after you get that one moment.
Yeah.
And people are just going to focus on obviously all the negative. Oh my God, why are these people popping up on my page all the time now? Why do I see them on your For You page? Da, da, da. Nigga, we 134 episodes into this bitch though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this is not no overnight shit, but people love to think that it is just because they was late to the party.
Yeah.
So again, I think that the big thing that we want to do is shout out everyone who's been rocking with us from the beginning. You guys have seen all the iterations, all the different sets, now a new name change, everything. Osei obviously coming in and elevating this shit tenfold. Like we are really, really building something special and none of that exists without you guys. So obviously shout out to y'all for being on a journey, supporting everything. Hopefully you continue to and tell your fucking friends, man, because this shit is really going to keep pushing and we're going to do some really, really big things in this shit.
100%.
Talking about some shit that's going into a new era like us, we got an era ending though.
Yeah.
No Jumper is about to close its doors, maybe it seems like. Well, not all the way. They're rebranding. And Adam22 got on his Instagram and was basically telling niggas that like things might look a little different.
Yeah.
And No Jumper that we are used to is not going to be the same thing. I think they lost their Instagram. And
really?
Some things like there were some things that have happened with them on top of obviously the Rico and some shit going on like around the actual building itself, where I think Adam as a business person had to step back and be like, all right, am I making fiscally responsible decisions with this content, with how I'm moving with this business? Because at the end of the day, we see the pod and all the clips and all that, but it is a real business.
Yeah.
How am I going to make this a sustainable thing? So No Jumper, we're not going to say it's clipped, but they're going to look a little different going forward.
Yeah. I mean, he heard news. You heard news that we were changing our name, bro. I had to make some space. No, but real like, yeah. I mean, I think we probably saw this coming, and I don't want to ever say it's good to see somebody fail because it's not. You feel for it, but I think when a platform is built on things that we've come on here and spoken out about how they're not necessarily beneficial to communities and it's not necessarily positive content all the time. I think, this is kind of what happens. You know, 100%. It's not like, I think when you do things the right way, you last a long time and you see a lot of success.
Hey, your energy matters, bro. Don't do bullshit. Don't push bullshit. Don't push bad narratives. Don't push like toxic shit. Adam has always had a very condescending tone about him to me a little bit. And I respect him because like as a kid growing up in this shit, knowing that I want to be in music, but not necessarily an artist, I did at a point look up to what Adam was doing when he was getting on a lot of the young niggas, you know what I mean? And as I grew and understood the motives behind some of the stuff he was doing, that's in my opinion kind of soured on him. But it would be foolish to discount his impact and what he's done for our generation, because I do think he put a lot of people on to a lot of really, really dope artists and has done some cool things in the culture. But overall, I mean, the nigga sold out. I wonder if he's making more bread from fucking his wife on camera than he is from actually doing interviews. Like,
you know he is.
I think, and he had to really step back and do the financials and be like, all right, so I'm missing this scene to go do an interview with fucking Crip Mac. Does that really, really make sense for the books? I don't know. So do you think Lena the Plug is the real breadwinner now?
Yeah. And maybe she was before too.
You think she's always been making the real money?
I don't know. These women make a lot of money.
I'm moving off of that business. That's his side business to me. I think what's important to me is No Jumper and what it means in the culture. Look, I feel like we said, the foundation was shaky, right? Like even if it comes out in a different form, it's like I think there's a direct correlation, even though they are kind of different things, right? Between a No Jumper and a Rolling Loud.
Mhm.
I think they both came up around the same time, around the same artists and similar types of content, where it was targeted at young kids listening to like the new underground music. X for me was my first No Jumper interview.
Same.
I also saw him on Rolling Loud, and that was the first time I heard about Rolling Loud. So for me, they're directly correlated. I think that Rolling Loud has done a great job of elevating things, and even though sometimes I do feel like they lean into internet culture and meme culture a little bit too much, I do think they've done a good job of at least like expanding their audience, right? And really at least trying to be artists first. I know Rolling Loud, sometimes when I go, it doesn't feel like the most organized thing, but it always does feel like they're trying to at least put the artist first. Even like they have rules where it's like only certain artists can be in the compound at one time, you know what I'm saying? Like just making sure that people's camps are aligned and all that. And like the festival grounds themselves are cool too, where it's like you can go see the show, but you could also get a tattoo. You know what I'm saying? You could also enjoy like a whole bunch of like, when it's in LA, like a whole bunch of like local LA food and stuff. Like it definitely feels like they are a little bit more community serving, whereas No Jumper felt like they were using the community to get clicks and establish headlines and not necessarily think about how it would affect the community.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Hopefully I put that in the right way.
No, I think I love that comparison. And you can kind of see where the paths diverged a little bit.
Mhm.
I also think this is a big moment in LA culture because I think it symbolizes something that's been happening for a while. Because I think No Jumper built a lot of its content and people around gang violence and gangs. And that's something that has like plummeted in LA. You know what I mean? Like, I think everyone's starting to realize it's played out. You hear way less about it. It's way less prevalent in the culture. And I think there are new platforms that still hold the same ethos of LA and LA culture, but aren't really pushing that, but are more get money, make art. You know, like I look at like a Back on Fig or like an Apollo, like what we're doing. You know what I mean? And like there are platforms that still hold that culture true, but aren't necessarily putting the gang shit and the violence in the forefront. And you love to see that kind of content win out.
I mean, I think it's also funny that No Jumper built up those platforms a little bit.
Yeah.
Fig Community World, all those niggas were down to fuck with Adam, down to build up with Adam, and Adam didn't treat them right. Didn't appreciate them. If you really want to go deep into it, Adam is benefiting off black art, black trauma, and now these black-owned platforms are taking back all control and bodying his numbers, beating him out. And Adam, for people like us, I think is a really good example of why you can't be content over everything.
Yeah.
I think that so much you do have to walk this line because, again, these are businesses. Like, I think we would love to come on here and talk about all the shit we want to talk about and like really like have like super fleshed out intelligent conversations, but like you have to be funny sometimes and you have to maybe make the joke that you don't always want to make, or maybe talk about something that you're not super passionate about because you know it's relevant in the culture right now.
Yeah.
And you do have to walk that line, but you can't ever fully just commit to the bit.
Yeah.
You can't make your content a joke. You can't let your content suffer just for, like you said, the clicks and things like that. And I think Adam became very money driven and very narrative driven and all that stuff, to where he wasn't focused on actually fostering a community. It was more just like, because I think real people can't ever also be like discounted. Like you have to, like Rolling Loud brings out actual individuals and they actually have to interact with the people that they're talking about, putting on the lineup, all that shit. Adam was kind of behind a screen the whole time. Nothing was ever real. And then when he got in person with people, you could tell energy got weird. Niggas got in fights. People started to shoot at each other. Like the real beef started to happen because Adam wasn't really curating spaces where people really wanted to pull up to. When niggas pull up on us, pull up here for something, it's always good vibes.
Yeah.
Very chill. We're not trying to be inflammatory. We're not going to ask you something that we know you don't want to talk about, or like just get up to the point of something that you know is going to make you uncomfortable to where now you might get mad. And after the podcast, after filming, there's going to be problems. So Adam, it's a cautionary tale.
Yeah.
It's a cautionary tale, but I mean, I don't feel bad for that nigga. He'll be fine. I think he's made his money in this shit. You know what I mean? He has
Plug
other
Talk is going
things.
to pay the rent.
You know, but I hope he does learn from it. You know, I seen him, Vlad, Trap Lord Ross, all them niggas linked up. Niggas call that the Federal Five. So, you know, they'll keep doing their things, but hopefully all this shit dies out, bro.
You become what you promote.
Yeah.
And the energy you put. You know what I mean? So like, It's like Adam is gonna be a successful porn star now. Dead ass. That's what he's doing, right?
I mean,
The plug talk is going. That show's not getting clipped. So like that's what he's doing now because that's what he's been using to get clicks for the last 3 or 4 years. So like just know like the content you put out and what you promote is what you'll become. So make sure it's in line with where you want to go. Maybe this is where Adam wants to go. If that's true, all power to him. He achieved his goals. He's gonna be a super successful porn star. But just know that like you have the steering wheel here.
In 2025, I would have never thought that we'd be hearing this. You know, this is true.
Wait, so my bad. Wasn't he always that or no?
No, Adam just now got into this when he started being with Homegirl and like filming all this shit.
Really? I feel like I thought I had heard that about him when he first got into the space. No,
not that I knew about.
I hadn't heard about it. Yeah, I think over the last like 4 years, it's become a thing.
Yeah.
I think before that, I think he walked his way into it. You know, he started having more porn stars on the podcast.
Yeah,
and started talking to them more and becoming more interested in the space. Then he maybe filmed a scene, and then he started dating Lena, and it just kind of like really
networking.
networking.
I got you.
God.
Okay.
Oh God. But yeah, RIP no jumper, I guess. Something that I think you guys could educate me about a little bit more. I mean, I feel like we have to give the floor to Osei.
For sure.
Mr. Tariff himself, man.
Come on.
I guess this is a serious topic. This is a real problem in America.
Oh yeah. But it's not serious enough that we have to talk about it seriously.
You know,
there's plenty of political platforms out there if you want to get hard-hitting facts about these tariffs. But I think we can talk about its effect on culture.
Yeah, shit is expensive now. And Osei called all of us thinking that Osei gets on stream and calls all of his friends thinking that niggas didn't know what a tariff is, like we didn't go to high school. But yeah, I think shit is just about to get more expensive because Trump is imposing tariffs on other countries.
Yeah, how did those calls go, bro? Did everyone know what a tariff was?
Honestly, everybody I called, except for one person, called me back or picked up the phone, and most people knew what a tariff was, to be honest, and by the definition too.
Nice.
So shout out to y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, I personally thought it was a funny question because I was like, do I even really know what a tariff is? You know what I mean? Like, but I also think it's a popular topic of conversation, so that was part of it too. It's like because some people were spitting out textbook definitions. I was like, did you just Google this?
I mean, I think it would have been funnier to also ask like a bunch, because I think it is an interesting thought exercise to ask young people in their 20s, do you know what tariffs are being imposed on what country? Like, do you actually know what's going on about this? Or do you just know that there's tariffs and everyone's posting about this is why I can't go out this weekend because tariffs are mad high, bro? Because I think our generation does love to make everything a joke.
Yeah.
And it might be starting to become a little problematic because, again, I think I'm the representation of it to where it's like, I don't care.
Our generation is not about that action.
At all.
We love to talk and joke and post infographics.
Yes.
We are not about that action. There were massive protests all over the country this past weekend on the way the administration is handling things, on everything from...
I've seen it.
Yeah.
I drove past a couple.
Yeah. And there were big ones in DC and in New York. And I follow some people that went. And the sentiment that I saw from all of those was, wow, there were no young people here. Old people from other generations were coming up to the people that I follow and thanking them for representing their generation because there were no young people. Yeah. The people that loved to scream about it online, none of them were out in the streets.
Yeah, that's why I'm never going to fake, bro. Again, not to say I am wrong. Miles bad. Don't think like me at all, but it's like I will never front.
But like real life, are we cooked because of that? Like, is the government just going to do whatever they want because we don't have real advocates of change in our generation?
I obviously not now, but I want to fact check that because I do know for a fact that old people love saying that young people don't do shit or that they were more hard body than this new generation. I feel like that's a thing.
You said you want to fact check it, or you think that that's not true?
I want to fact check like were there young people out or not? Like is Gen Z like represented in these protests?
But my sources weren't the old people. They were the few Gen Z people that went. They said, "Yo, where were you guys?" And like, we were like the only young people.
Do you know any of your people that was outside?
But okay, so what were they protesting? They were protesting the tariffs.
That was yeah, but also just the entire administration.
Everything
that's happening.
I agree with you. I feel like there's more nuance to it than just that, but I agree with you for the most part.
I think that a lot of people take the mindset that I have, where it's like, bro, I have bigger fish to fry. Like, I'm so sorry. There's just other things on my mind right now that are like, not even to say to be on some bullshit, but it's like, I just have other things that I'm thinking about besides the government. And that's selfish to say, because I think that you do have to think about the disenfranchised people, the people that don't have a voice. And I think it is very selfish to take your freedom, take your voice, take your ability to say something and not.
Yeah.
But
And that's why
I'm selfish.
let me just impose a little viewpoint here. That's why maybe if it was a little easier to survive and exist in our country, and maybe if there was just a touch less motivation to become a billionaire, there'd be more time for us to care about civic duties and about the wealth of our nation as a whole instead of our individual position. You know what I'm saying?
Can I say something that's wrong?
Yeah.
Even if we did care,
Yeah.
even if we did pop out, I just feel like how I've always interacted with the government, what I've seen about the government, what I've been told by a lot of people, even from an older generation, is that these systems in place are fucked. What America was built on, we were talking about a shaky foundation. Like, my dad is super, super like into politics and that,
Yeah.
and is always really upset. And he's always preached the mentality of like, you guys are kind of fucked. Like, the shit that's going bad is already bad. Like, we are so far gone. Like, it's gonna really take an insane act or a revolution or something big to really create actual change. So it's like the only way that I could actually be an agent of change or actually contribute to this would be making an insane amount of money to where I actually become a player in this. But without that money, without that influence, without that platform, is my individual thoughts and me speaking out and going to this protest really going to enact any change?
I mean, I think there's strength in numbers, and I do think, yeah, I think protests are moderately effective. It's not going to make huge change, but I think if we all, because if the three of us chose to go to these protests, I'm sure that's not just an increase in 3 people. You know what I'm saying? I think that's a shift in the way we're thinking. Because if we're driven to go to these protests, I'm sure most of our friends were too.
Right.
You know what I mean? So then you see an entire percentage change of the people that are showing out. If we participated in certain boycotts, that's a way to actually change things. You know what I mean?
But mad people are participating in boycotts.
But we're not.
Yeah.
Why aren't we? Those people aren't enough. Those people are the smaller percent that are like activists.
Yeah.
Where are the normal people? Us.
Yeah.
We're inactive.
Yeah, no.
I'm trying to organize my thoughts on this. It's kind of a lot. One thing I want to say first, I just find this all to be very interesting because I do feel like history in general, but U.S. history is very cyclical. We're always just doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, weren't tariffs a thing in the 1920s? Isn't that what led to the Great Depression?
Well, I was thinking, like, isn't that like the Boston Tea Party?
What? No,
Weren't
bro.
they? No. I'm saying back then. Weren't they mad about the cost of shit? And wasn't it really
I see what
expensive?
you're
Like, wasn't there like a crazy import?
Yeah,
tax
there
or
was a
something
tea
like that?
tax. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on, I was in history class. My
Okay,
nigga.
no,
Don't do all that.
my fault. You jump back another like few hundred years.
Yeah.
But yeah, that happened, and then what? World War II happened like a decade or two after that, like late 1930s, early 1940s. Like, aren't we just doing the same? Isn't the U.S. just becoming nationalist again, like we were like 100 years ago?
Yeah. I think since World War II was concluded, the entire world has moved to a place of globalization, where slowly tariffs across the entire globe have started to diminish. They started high. We were at like 40% across the board, all countries, and we've worked down to single digits, not just in America, but all across the country, because we realized free trade, free flowing imports and exports was good for productivity of all. You know, and so this does seem like a reset. It's the biggest shakeup in the global economy in our lifetime, the lifetime of our parents.
I feel like ever since really like the early 2000s, like 9/11, it's like the U.S. has become more xenophobic. That's like afraid of like the outside.
Yeah. And
has slowly been moving toward a more conservative, more nationalist country. This is just like the peak of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't know. When I saw the tariffs, I was like, bro, this feels like the 1920s. Like, this is like mad funny. But another thing, because I want to go back to your point about like young people coming out. I think that one thing that I've been thinking about lately is like what my responsibility is in all this, right? Because I think you're right. I don't know if I can speak for everybody. I never like to speak for the whole generation because I do feel like that's like an older person thing to do to younger people. But I think about myself and I'm like, I'm not outside when it comes to activism, when it comes to protests. And it is something that I do think about and I do try and stay up on in terms of what's going on in the world. I've done less so here, but like in the past, I've like tried to be like that. I think that at some point, as somebody that likes to like build community and meet people and gather people, I do think that under the right cause, I do have a responsibility to myself at least step outside and do some volunteer work or participate in a protest or at least push everything the way I want it to be, right? Because you can't sit here and be like, oh, I like to build community when you're not actively helping the people in your community. Like what is it all for? Is it all to just get fucked up on the weekend? You know what I mean? Like I do think that to your point, right? You talk about making a whole bunch of money and being able to like affect change that way. I think that you can affect change that way, but also you can affect change now in smaller ways by being an active part of the people that are trying to make a difference already.
100%.
And we have no community leaders, you know, that's really a big thing. Like, and I think that's strategic, especially in the Black community. Like, bro, I mean, they killed Malcolm X and they killed MLK. You feel me? It's just like though there's no new version of that. I mean, you know what I'm saying? And it's by design.
So rock with me. Let's not just talk about it. I think that's a really good point. And I think Stereo Vision as a platform could do something like that. I think we could spend 4 hours a month volunteering together and inviting people to listen to this podcast to volunteer to the same cause.
I would only do it if it's something that I feel like makes sense for my community.
I know. I would let you guys pick it if you wanted to.
I have a lot of these conversations because like my queen, shout out to her. You know what I mean? She's the complete opposite of this.
Yeah.
Like she's really, I'm protesting. She literally works in like social justice. You know what I mean? This is her whole, everything that she thinks about. And it is like, it's interesting to see because there are young people that are involved, but it simply just isn't enough of us. And like, I don't know why there's nothing in me that is like really fired up about it. Because like I do want to change and like actively like participate in making the world a better place. Like I don't want to get success and money and fame just for miles.
Yeah.
Like to accumulate all this stuff. Like I do care about the Black community, all that shit, But I just really do kind of have the mentality that like none of this shit matters without resources. And you need to accumulate resources and then have like the right mindset about how to utilize them and how to activate them and where to put the money.
Yeah, I think most of our time should still be spent on building this brand and becoming successful. But I think we have 4 hours a month, not only for the people that we could help, but for ourselves. I think doing community work is extremely valuable to a person. It's something that I've lost since graduating, where I learned so much about myself, my community, and what I value from volunteering, whether it be at like a wetlands or at like a soup kitchen. You know what I mean? Like you can think about it selfishly. It's great for you to do that kind of stuff. And I think
like you help people.
I think we should. It doesn't need to be political at all. Protest, none of that. But I think we could pick a charity that we could spend a couple hours a month and invite our viewers to come volunteer with us.
I mean, I would just love it to be music related though. You know what I mean? Or at least education related, where it's like, because I really feel like, how do I say this? I really feel like I want to help in education somehow.
Yeah.
But I want it to be not necessarily music related, but the only thing I'm really passionate about right now when it comes to like maybe like volunteering and making a difference is helping people understand that there's more options than just like the one. Because I feel like when I was coming up, you know what I mean? Like I had interests and passions that just weren't, like everybody was saying I couldn't do it. You know what I mean? And I'm more interested in contributing to that kid that like may want to work in music or may want to work in entertainment or shit, maybe they want to be a sculptor. You know what I'm saying? But like they don't know that that's an option for
It's
them.
very interesting because that's literally like what Selena works in. You know what I mean? She's working specifically in education and just helping out like the underserved communities here. And it is very interesting to see like the difference in resources that different communities as a whole are getting as opposed to other ones, the types of schools that the government is actually putting funding into, putting time into, why they're pulling resources, what they're taking out of schools now, what they're no longer teaching kids, Yeah, education is, I think, one of the best ways to start with this shit, because you want people to at least have the knowledge to go and make something of themselves and go and accumulate these resources and get this money so they can then be agents of change and whatever. But there is no but, just have to go do it. I guess,
we should do it.
Make the time, do the things, all the stuff.
Yeah. It's overall, my bad. I know we're on tariffs still, but it's overall very difficult to shift the whole government. Like you go into not you, but like someone going to one protest or even a multitude of protests is not going to shift the way that the government is moving, right? But what you can do is you can be an agent of change in your community, and eventually as you build up like your own name and your own like following or your own community, you can start to put people in positions of power that represent what you value.
But that's what I'm saying. So that's why I'm like, I would rather do that. I get that I'm not going to pop out to a protest, but if there's a speaking engagement at a high school or something, and like niggas would like to have a professional actually talk, I would rather do that. Not to say it's right again. I'm just saying what my mentality is with this shit.
Yeah, I just think that I know we are all leaders, but I don't think it's realistic for us to think that we need to lead in everything we do. There are situations where it's okay for us to be followers and community members rather than leaders. And I don't think any of us are so knowledgeable about politics or about reform where we need to be looking at this like, oh, we need to lead and we need to pick the new leaders and we need to do all this. Sometimes it's okay to just be a community member and follow someone. I think we should do more of that.
I feel you with that, but I'm saying when I say picking a leader, when he's talking about is like putting another young bull in a position to go and become something of themselves, not in terms of like what's it called, like politics or anything like that, but just go be like, yo, there's more opportunities outside of maybe what you think is like available to you right now.
Yeah.
In the workforce more so than like.
I hear that that's what you guys are passionate about, but there are also so many other avenues that need us. You know what I'm saying? Like that's important too. But I think it's important to look outside of a situation you might have felt yourself in because there are so many people that need help.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
You're 100% right. You're 100% right. Someone who's also pushing the community forward, Sexy Red dropped a new song, Hoochie Coochie.
Mm-hmm. Great transition.
How we feeling about it, guys? Sexy is continuing on her Waka Flocka, Lil Jon, like Southern high energy resurgence thing that she's doing. And the song was all right to me. It's fine. But are you still checking for new Sexy Red music?
Still?
I think there was a point.
I can't say there was ever a point for me. She does what she does well. Yeah. And there's a big audience there. And there's definitely people that love that music. And there's definitely a place for that music to be played.
Has there been any music since the Playboy Cardi drop that has really moved you?
I'm really into this 2hollis album.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's really cool.
Really?
I think it's really well put together, really tastefully put together. He has a lot of interesting motifs that are really intriguing to me in his brand that he also puts in his music.
Okay.
And I'm starting to see the whole picture.
What is it?
I think it's this kind of celestial, esoteric thing. You know what I mean? This kind of mysterious, like,
you gotta use words that niggas can dissect.
No, I get what you're saying.
He's frequently talking a lot about tarot. He's frequently talking a lot about astrology.
Okay.
And that, I think, goes hand in hand with dance music because dance music so much is about frequency. Mm-hmm. And I think people, a lot of like these crystal hippies, mm-hmm. whatever you want to call them, people that are super into this stuff, listen exclusively to dance music. If you go to EDC, a lot of people there fit that community.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's so frequency based.
Mm-hmm.
So I see this brand being put together really tastefully, mm-hmm. from the imagery to like the sacred geometry as the album cover, to him explaining that the album is called Star because after his house burned down in the LA fires, the only thing that he found in the ashes was a tarot card that was the star, and he posted the star. You know, like it's all coming together, and the music's really good and it's really different. I think his voice to me is really boy band. Really, it's like a really great pop vocal to mm-hmm. me. That like his timbre actually.
Yeah.
There are parts that are still a little too noisy for me. You know, it does pull a lot from like hyperpop and even a little bit from like dubstep. And so there are parts where I'm like, eh. But the songs that hit, I'm like, wow, this is one of the few people that can actually get me into like dance music. And I just hear the vocal and I see a star. You know what I mean? I see how it's just going to take one song and he's on the radio. In my opinion.
I agree with all that. And I think you spoke on it really well. I don't think I can speak on it better than the way you spoke on it. But visually, everything you said matches like it matches up for me, because even from like the long hair to like, I don't know, like the gender fluidity of it all, like I'm like, he is almost like portraying this character that transcends like human. You know what I mean?
He's like cosplaying as a god.
Yes, that's actually what it is.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I'm not gonna say I don't like the way that when you say it like that, I don't like it. But like, I think it's more like a fairy type creature or whatever.
Yeah, because
like,
God, when I say that, I'm saying a god.
Yes,
so I'm
yes,
speaking
yes,
from a
yes.
perspective of like almost like mythology, and where gods are more deities of power.
Yes,
it's like a
he's,
fantasy.
he's like a deity. Yeah.
It's not at all Christian.
No. I know that. Yeah. I think we're on the same page. But yeah, I didn't love the song we listened to on stream.
Yeah.
Did you find any other songs that you like better, or you like that song now?
But titles are gonna definitely elude me right now, or evade me right now. The second track, I forget what it's called. It's a project that you should listen to the whole thing. It's not a super long listen, and one of the standouts is the way that he transitions all the tracks. There are really beautiful transitions. It feels like a complete thought. I think definitely give it a spin. You'll find some tracks, and even if you don't, when you're in the mood for that, you'll enjoy the listen.
Well, I was also gonna say too, like, I think that because the question I asked was like, what has excited you?
Yeah,
and I think he is the most exciting person that's came out in a while, because when you talk about why he does what he does, everything is intentional.
Yeah.
So forget if you enjoy the music, if you don't like the music. There's a rhyme and a reason behind the cover art, the way it looks, the way he performs. He's very well spoken about what he's trying to do in all of this.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what needs to be appreciated, because then you see that everything else starts to line up. And he's also checked all the boxes previously to where he was opening up for Ken Carson and people didn't really know him. And the shows were the thing that I think really teed him up, because before people were excited about him, he was still showing out.
Yeah.
And going crazy.
Facts.
And doing the most. And then by the end of the tour, it was like people were just as excited for him as Ken.
Yeah.
And he's living in this world now where he's able to take influences of like the song that he dropped before this, Style, was like the motto. Like, you know what I mean? The flow that he did is exactly the motto.
Yeah.
And he's taking these hip hop influences and showing exactly where it could go in a whole different space. And I like that because, again, we've been speaking about the underground a lot. I think he still is a baby of that and is now showing what it could be at a higher, more elevated level, to the point where you're saying he could be on the radio.
Yeah.
And when was the last time you said that about an underground artist?
Well, do you think he consciously aligned with hip hop, or do you think the underground wrapped their arms around him?
I think both.
Both?
I think he comes from this. I think he's just like any other kid who's like, I grew up listening to this music.
Yeah.
And he probably listened to a bunch of other shit too, but like niggas know that like rap, underground culture, hip hop culture is still fly. So in terms of the way that he's dressing and maybe the brands and seeing people rocking designer and doing all the shit, like he was probably like, oh, I want to look like this. I want to be around these people. I'm interested in this music, but I also have a passion for all this other stuff. And he himself is a producer.
Yeah.
So then I think his producer brain was like, let me just like kind of combine things and see how far I could take sounds and experiment with sounds. Cause like, again, the underground, while you may not like what they say all the time and you may not like the messaging, these producers are pushing boundaries.
Definitely.
They're doing really, really cool shit. So someone who is a producer and an artist is able to really combine those two things.
Yeah.
And like, I think that's why someone like him is different from a Nate Sib. Cause I don't know if Nate is producing all of his stuff. He might be, but like, I feel like Hollis is able to kind of like take stuff a little bit farther while he still is kind of handicapped by like, they'll do the corny pop like shit a little bit too much. Like I may want a little bit more lyrically, but what he lacks lyrically, he makes up for in the wild, off the wall production. I'm excited to listen to the album.
Yeah.
I don't think it's like it's necessarily like my traditional cup of tea.
Yeah.
But I could see myself liking it and appreciating it.
Yeah. One day when you're at work and you're just cranking out something and you might have had one too many cup of coffee, you know, might have overdosed the Adderall a little in the morning. When you're in the mood, spin it. It's a good listen.
Bro, creativity is what is feeding me in this music shit now.
Yeah.
Like I hear so much bullshit day to day that even if it's not my favorite, if you're doing something different, that's exciting to me. I want to support you. I want to big up that, you know?
Totally.
And also pulling from influences without being derivative. Because I think it
Yeah.
is that early 2000s like fucking boy band pop shit that we grew up on.
And the 2010s dance music.
Yeah.
Because that's where I'm really intrigued by him. Because with the music that he makes, who he's influenced by, and who his mom is, he could have.
Who's his mom?
She was like a Skrillex co-manager.
This is really funny. You know, it's just, it's so all of this.
Industry plants. but that goes back to what I was saying at the beginning of the episode. That is one of the bigger definitions of being an industry plant. He is a great example of that. But what he did was he planned everything out perfectly. And I don't really think he had a lot of help. You know what I mean? I think we've seen this build from a very small level. You know,
Well, what is help?
It is
What's the definition of help?
Yeah.
Because
every resource available to him.
yeah,
That's true. That's
and
true.
what's the definition? I mean, I think you guys already solved it, so maybe not. But I was gonna say, what's the definition of help? Because I think like even with the title of our stuff, like it's very tongue in cheek for sure. But I wouldn't necessarily say besides, you know, maybe some love and care from our parents. I don't know if we had a lot of help getting into the music industry.
Definitely not.
Obviously, if you know that situation with his mom is true, it's like then from a young age you have the connections, you're being brought around, you are going to vocal lessons, you're put in all these different classes to learn instruments, you're learning how to produce. Like I don't know if you always wanted to be an artist, but like it's right there.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I do also want to, before we go all the way in here, say that I think that to be true, but that's from what somebody has told me and what I've seen online. So are you confirming it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Regardless, I want to circle back to how we were talking about 2hollis being accepted in the underground, because I do think it is really interesting, right?
Yeah.
Because the more I listen to his music, it kind of reminds me of 100 Gex, but way more polished.
I like
right?
that. I like that comp.
And I always found it strange that people that in the underground like were accepting of 100 Gex, because to me that music is so far left of center to like what the underground rap scene is when it comes to like that like rage type music. I don't know how to describe it better, but that's the way I'm gonna say
Definitely some hyper pop too.
Yeah. Oh, I guess
Are you
so.
talking about Gex or the underground?
The underground in
Oh,
general.
yeah, you're
Well,
right.
I guess if you look at like what's his name, Glaive or Eric Doa,
Okay.
DOA. Like I guess those are kind of part of the underground too. I don't know. I just think that it's interesting that he was placed there or that he made his way there, and I think it's what Miles was saying for sure. But it is one thing to be around, and it's another thing to be accepted. You know, and he's very openly accepted.
I mean, I think that, and again, I don't want to down him at all. Like what I'm saying and the way that this conversation is, like, I think that many people are given opportunity and have resources and don't take the ball and run with it.
Mm-hmm.
I think you cannot decide how you were born, whatever. The kid loves music.
Yeah.
And I think having a genuine love for it is where all of this has to start. I think that it's just interesting to see, again, like how you talked about how he's spoken about this, being the access to education
Mm-hmm.
and the access to growing up in these schools and things to where you can actually articulate and explain the intentionality behind your music. Someone like a Baby Kia, who's like so DMX. And like the reason people resonate with him is that kind of off the wall passion and just being so crazy and all over the place. I don't think he could necessarily articulate why he's doing this.
I don't see the correlation between Baby
No,
Kia and DMX.
I'm saying, what?
I don't.
Are you serious?
I see him doing the cover art and stuff, but I don't see them like sonically. No.
No, I'm just saying like the delivery. From a delivery standpoint, how they go crazy. Kia's like growling on a track and like screaming, and like it's passion and the energy behind everything, I think is the reason why people resonated with DMX so early. It's this person that clearly has all this pain, all this struggle, and just like it comes out in the music that's super like overly aggressive, all that stuff. It's not, whatever. It's not a Baby Kia conversation, but there is a reason why Baby Kia is resonating with people, right? And I don't think that he necessarily has grown up or had the resources to be able to articulate why he makes the music he does. He just does it. Whereas someone like Hollis is able to really hit it on the nose in a way that makes you a real fan.
Yeah, you could argue that that Hollis's brand is so tight,
Yes,
because he had so many years and free time to not only develop it, but he had people asking him all the right questions that led him along the lines to uncover that on his own. It's. I mean, we're not going to sit here and pretend like Northwest doesn't have a million times better chance of being a super successful creative, not just because her dad is Kanye, but because she has time to become great.
Yes.
She doesn't have to worry about getting good grades or making money or picking a career. She has all this time in the world to become a great musician. I'm super supportive of rich Nepo babies going into the art space. You have time to develop it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, go be great at art.
What sucks though is the fact that like, and it doesn't suck, bro. It's just like, it's the reality of life.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of other underground people just won't be able to do this.
Yeah.
And don't have that little extra stuff that I think will, because I think that success in this, how far you go in this, it's the small things. It's the little things. And all of that stuff is going to be right for Hollis, and it may not be right for like a Xavier So Based, who is his super close friend, you know, I mean? And that type of stuff. So it's just the reality of life, and you can't blame someone for that. You know, I think it's a big problem that you see in the NBA. I think if you look at the NBA from 10, 15 years ago, it's a lot of people from underprivileged communities, that are like, yo, I got to put in this time. I want to change my family's position. Where now a lot of the people who are coming up in the NBA, some of the best players, are people from NBA families who have had access to trainers from a very, very young age and now have a just complete leg up on the competition. You can't hate on that, but like, Carlos Boozer's sons are now like top 10 prospects in the fucking league. And like, you're not seeing as many like inner city kids or people like who maybe need this money becoming NBA players. But that's why you put in systems like the NIL to where these other kids with less advantages can still go to other schools and get paid. So,
and speaking to your point, I love how all this is connecting from industry plants to your point about serving the community. I think that's why it's important that when speaking to people that don't necessarily have the privileges of a 2hollis, maybe being a superstar isn't always the end goal, and that's okay. You know what I'm saying? Because that's really, really difficult to do with people with incredible advantages like that. Maybe you could be an incredible songwriter. You know what I mean? If you have this gift, let's develop this. You know what I mean? And help you become an extremely successful songwriter.
Yes, there's other avenues of success, but it's like, it just sucks that they feel like they can't be the face of it.
Well, the best will. The best will always break through.
Sometimes, but not always. Because sometimes you don't get the opportunity to. And if you're in this fucked up situation for a little bit too long, something left could happen to you. And it's just like, you know.
Oh, yeah. I think what I'm saying is like, well, it sucks for if talent, if we just put talent and artistry on a spectrum from 0% to 100%. You know what I'm saying? It really sucks for the kids from underprivileged places that rank in the 85 to 98 percentile. Because those are people that if they had a 2hollis resource or a Northwest resource are probably becoming global superstars.
Bro.
But what I do believe that top 1% breaks through regardless.
That's naive, bro.
You don't think so?
No. It's not fair, bro. There's niggas who are like you look at it all the time and you talk about, again, I hate to like always do it with sports, but like this is just what I know. Like there's millions of people who are excellent hoopers.
Yeah.
Like the best you've ever seen in the streets, but like niggas go to jail. Niggas get shot and die. You know what I mean? They're in these communities where it's like, fuck, like they get an institutionalized mentality where it's like, I've never seen anyone make it. So why would it be me? Even though I have this incredible talent. You know what I mean?
That's true.
And it happens again, like Layla, most deaf. You know what I mean? Like there's a million cases now where I see in music, in entertainment, in sports, it's the people with resources and that have seen it happen are able to like become these things. That's why I won't even die. Like we talked about it last week. You know what I mean? Like I think that I was privileged to see certain things at a young age just by where I went to school. And like, I was able to get there by like they fucking gave me a scholarship, you know?
Yeah.
And I got lucky, but I know plenty of people that weren't given that opportunity. And now I saw things that maybe my parents weren't able to provide for me, but now I just know it's possible. And for me, once I saw it, I can go get it.
Yeah.
You know, and there's so many people that aren't afforded that same opportunity, but you know, the world is unfair. So like we can't just fucking harp on the unfairness of life.
And that is truly just the way that it's always been.
And we'll always
you look back to ancient Greece. The arts were reserved for aristocrats.
You know,
because those are the people that have the time to write poetry because they don't need to be doing work and surviving.
Exactly.
The arts have always low key been reserved for the upper class, and that sucks.
And that's why, though, to what we were saying earlier. Now, when we get up, when we go do this shit, we have to go back to these communities and give back to these people and build facilities for them and let them know you want to get money to get your people out of this situation. You really don't got to deal drugs. Go get FL Studio. Go join that theater club. Spend this time doing that, even with the hoop shit. You know what I mean? Like, make sure niggas got shoes. All the little shit that you can do in your communities. You know what I mean? I feel like that is an active way to contribute to the betterment of society, I guess. But then, like, is music and entertainment matter more than like the political? You never know.
It's all the same because if you would have, if we would have elected Andrew Yang in 2020, we would have had a universal base income, and those kids would have never had to consider dealing drugs because they're getting $1,000 a month just for existing. So then you have more time to pursue art. And you don't feel the need to put yourself in dangerous situations as much. There's a lot of different routes to achieving this goal.
You think Andrew Yang would have solved years of systematic racism?
I think it would have helped. I'm Yang Gang for sure.
I mean,
think about. I mean, we talk about economics and how money like is a reason for a lot of this shit. Think about what a universal base income does.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, for underprivileged communities.
I mean. Well, actually, we should get into that in a second. But we'll flesh out. Is there any more new music? Yachty V's dropped a song that sounds like a Yachty V song. That was really good.
Yeah.
The Malcolm Todd album is great. You should listen to that.
Malcolm Todd album is really, really good.
Yeah, it's really, really good. I love the fucking first song, Harry Styles, when he's taking shots at the two niggas that are also on his label a little bit.
Who?
Harry Styles and Tyler, the Creator.
Oh, when he's talking about not getting picked for Flog Gnaw?
Not getting picked on the Flog Gnaw lineup, and if he's not a Harry Styles, he's gonna get put on the shelf.
Yeah.
I think that whole project is really good. I think he's hilarious, and I think that the like writing actually got a little bit more depth.
Yeah.
To where he could still be like kind of tongue in cheek and witty about things, but like now there's like another layer underneath it. Of like, oh, what's going on in your head? Are you happy about everything?
He's funny. The focus track, what is it?
Concrete. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's really good. And the video is so funny.
Yeah.
He has a really good sense of humor.
What else? Is there anything else that dropped that mattered? Jello Ball, I haven't heard that song still.
I just got put onto this dude named Obong Jayar.
I don't know.
Do you guys know who that is?
No.
He dropped a song this week. Yeah, I don't have a lot to say about it, and I don't even know if I said his name right, but I put a song on the weekly rotation, so make sure to follow our weekly rotation if you want to tap into him. He's my new favorite thing.
Shout out to bro. Okay. Getting back to your universal base income, getting money.
Yeah.
So we've seen situations with John Morant and Anthony Edwards, and I think they are perfect examples of, oh my God, you cannot give these young bulls too much money at such an early age without giving them the tools to know what to do with it. You know what I mean?
Okay, but that doesn't relate to universal base income.
I know, but it's just like giving people money is not the answer. You also have to give them tools to understand what to do with the money and how to be effective with it. To me, there's more to it than just giving them the money.
Using Ant and John Morant as examples is crazy.
Yeah,
those while they are very talented, those are very flawed individuals.
I think
and the amount of money is the problem here.
Yes,
we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars. I'm talking about $1,000 a month, so you don't feel the pressure to deal drugs,
bro. But a nigga who hasn't, people will fall into old habits, and people will fuck up the money quick and not value it if they know that it's gonna keep coming. And I don't think Anthony Edwards is a bad person. And I don't think Anthony Edwards was doing these things before he got an exorbitant amount of money to where he was like, okay, me getting a girl pregnant now isn't a big deal. To us even, If we got a girl pregnant before we had the actual resources to do something with it, that is a life-altering mistake. This nigga now has the resources to pay, I think, like 1.8 upfront to never have to think about it again. So he's not gonna really learn from these mistakes, to me. He's gonna keep making the same mistakes.
I want to pull these topics apart.
Okay.
Because I don't really think that we can talk about them in the same breath because they're totally different situations. So do you want to talk about universal basic income or do you want to talk about Anthony Edwards and John
We'll
Morant?
go to Anthony Edwards and John Morant, but I don't think what I'm saying is completely crazy and baseless.
What I'm talking about is $1,000 a month,
I agree with
$12,000 a year.
I agree
Not
with you.
even enough to pay
I
rent
agree with you.
at the cheapest
I know.
one bedroom
I know.
in Los Angeles.
I know.
That is not gonna allow you to go
I
pay
don't
$1
think
million
it's the
in
same
child
thing,
support.
obviously.
Okay.
But you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying that giving people money is not just the solution.
Also, wouldn't that just make the price of everything go up? I'm not an economist. No.
I mean,
Economist.
tax would go up too.
Whatever.
So
we did all that.
So it would just like even everything out then.
No, I don't think it would be that much. I don't think everything would have to be that much more expensive. But I also don't pretend to know the entire plan. So go listen to an Andrew Yang speech if you're interested.
Yeah, talking about Anthony Edwards, how do we feel about it? He got a girl pregnant, Aisha Howard, and it has been well documented that Anthony Edwards was like, I do not want this child. I don't want to raise this kid. This is not something that I want to do. Takes it to court, It's his kid, obviously. He has to pay child support. He gets given the amount, and he's just like, I will pay it all up front. 18 years, boom, never talk to me again. How do we feel?
Ooh, my take might be different than most people's.
I mean, I think it's a great decision.
Go first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
then we're in line.
Yeah, do that. If that's how you feel, why not just pay it up front?
I think how he feels to me is wrong because I care about, like in my own situation or not a current situation, but I care about having kids. Basically, I care about raising kids in the same type of household that I was raised in, which I feel like was a loving one. And I called him a flawed individual earlier, which is, even though strongly worded, I do feel like the way I see the world, if you don't want to raise your kid, like that to me is like not right. However, besides all that, if he already said that he wasn't going to do that, you feel me? He already said he didn't want to do that and wasn't going to do that. So the only thing to fulfill that obligation that he needed to do was pay that money. And if you're just going to pay it all up front, then he's fulfilled the contractual obligation. I think it's a great move if you're not going to do the rest. You know what I'm saying? It might be kind of funny, but at the end of the day, it's like, bro already said he wasn't going to participate. So let me just fulfill this duty and keep it moving.
I mean, I think he should still be in the kid's life.
But he's not going to.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
No. I think he's gonna. I don't think Anthony Edwards is gonna completely shun this kid and not acknowledge that the child is his. I don't think he wanted the kid, and I think that more so than that, I don't think he wants to interact with the mom.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that he's probably not going to speak to her too much or be the kindest to her. But and I'm being hopeful and idealistic, of course, but I would hope that he at least decides to spend time with the kid, allows the kid to know he fathered a child, you know? And I think there is a bigger problem with this because now Anthony Edwards, I want to say already before this, has like 3 kids with 3 different baby moms.
Mm-hmm.
Bro.
So wait, but what based on your actions is like? I feel like you're giving him the benefit of the doubt when he literally said the opposite.
Yeah,
what benefit of the doubt?
that he's going to be in the kid's life.
I guess-
Well, because everything that he said was before the child was born. And I think you talk differently before this life is now here because he was still trying to convince her to get an abortion.
Yeah.
So I think that's why he said what he said.
I don't think he's earned the benefit of the doubt.
Well,
I hear you though.
Well, no, because you don't know, because you also don't know what his relationship with those kids are
I think
at all.
I think
we know
he's
what he
spoken-
said.
yeah.
I think we know what he said before the child was born when there was still an opportunity to get an abortion. But he could still be present in those lives and not be around the baby mother. I don't think it's fair to say that he's terrible in that sense. I think it's fair to say he's extremely immature, needs to think better about his decisions, and like all the shit. He has these flaws. But then again, like I'm also not gonna, he was raised in a single parent household. He doesn't know his father. So these are mentalities and issues and things that clearly run deeper, not an excuse for your actions in any capacity. Super immature. He's making the wrong decisions. He needs to think better and think deeper before he does these things. But I'm hoping naively, immaturely maybe, that he still is at least present in the child's life in some capacity. Because the kid's going to know that Anthony Edwards is his dad.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a bunch of different feelings about this, and I don't know necessarily where I land because my first thought is, okay, from a financial standpoint, he's actually paying a lot more money than he would. By paying upfront due to the future value of money and inflation, she's actually receiving a lot more value than she would if she got monthly payments.
That's wrong though.
Why?
Because child support changes as your income changes as well. And he's probably going to sign a bigger contract.
As your income changes?
Yeah.
Oh, it's not a set amount?
No, it's going to go up.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I think.
How does that work? That seems like it can't work. How
I looked into it.
Well, then how do they know how much it costs to pay it up front?
I don't think people do that often. I think this was like a clever tactic from a business standpoint.
But you understand what I'm saying, right? That
Yes.
like 1.5 million now is more than
It's based off what he's making now. What you're saying, I get 100%.
Yeah.
With the value of money, inflation, all that shit. Yes.
because that was my only reason why I was like, okay, this might actually be a good thing. Because other than that, I'm like, okay, he's depending on who this woman is. He obviously doesn't think highly of her.
Yeah.
So he probably doesn't think that she is going to be the best with her money. If you think this way about it, like it seems like he's setting his kid up for failure by giving her this massive bag at once in which she has an opportunity to blow it in a year or two.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it seems irresponsible for the kid's life because a steadier income flow is safer and makes sure that the kid will be all right regardless. So that seems immature. And the way that it comes out just as like a fuck you is like, yeah, I don't know. I'm not rocking with it.
She's also 38 years old.
Yeah.
She has a kid from Lil Baby.
Mhm.
And so there is another bigger conversation about, you see the same thing with Jalen Green, who just got that Dre Michelle girl who's like, I think almost 40 years old.
Yeah.
Pregnant, you know what I mean? Like there is a bit of a predatory mindset that seems to come through with some of these older women who know the game, know how these young niggas move, know that they could be a little bit reckless with their money, and then are like, well, I'm going to go collect a bag because then it's like, yo, why are you having this kid?
Yeah.
Why are you in this relationship with this person? Do you really even care about either Anthony Edwards when you were with him or the kid that you're about to have? Or is this whole thing a ploy to set yourself up to do something when you don't have a job?
It kind of ties back to the YG song, you know, and how well this is legal. This isn't necessarily what he was talking about. It is predatorial.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't know. So there's just so many layers to this before you get to the fucking hilarious jokes, because she then responded to people saying this shit and is like, why y'all hating on me just for doing all this shit? A lot of y'all get pregnant from your weed man just to go get some free weed. Like, you know what I mean? Like, y'all, what are we really talking about here? I'm doing my own thing. I already had money, you know what I mean? I'm already getting child support payments from Lil Baby, da. Like, I don't need this, but like a lot of y'all hoes hating on me is just getting pregnant by some broke niggas. So what are we really doing?
Just terrible.
Yeah, disagree with
terrible overall.
Yeah, you hate to see it.
Bad person.
But you know,
Bad person.
I think Anthony Edwards will continue to be rich and have money, and I hope that he's just going to learn from this and realize that bringing life into the world is a big thing.
Yeah.
And clearly these women know who you are, and the abortion stuff isn't always 100%. Not everyone's down for that.
Yeah.
And you can't assume people are going to be down for that. And you need to be careful with your shit, bro. Use your head. And then Ja,
Yeah.
whole different situation. I have gone back and forth on this. So Ja Morant, obviously we know the previous issues with him and guns and the NBA and his suspensions and all that stuff and just kind of his legal troubles. Now Ja has been fined pretty heavily by the NBA for some gun gestures he made near the end of a Warriors game after he hit a big shot towards their bench. And I think that Ja is displaying extreme amounts of immaturity. Again, knowing you have to know the time and place. You have to know that you're one of the faces of the NBA. You have to know it's like Draymond Green, right? Not to say that this is right, but when Draymond Green wiles out on a ref because of his prior reputation, they're more likely to give him a technical foul.
Mm-hmm.
If you know that niggas know that you have these gun issues and you've been doing the most with it, of all the gestures and shit talking you could do, why are you pointing the gun at the bench? especially when it's Stephen Curry, Dre, one of the more high-profile NBA franchises. It's a nationally televised game. Time and place.
Hey, didn't he hit the game winner too that game?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go, Ja. Fuck that, bro.
No,
I don't give a fuck, bro,
I think this
about
is-
some finger guns.
I think this is pure hate.
Yeah.
Pure hate from the NBA.
People do Anthony Edwards hit the game winner last night and gave us Black Ops 2 double guns.
Yes.
Yeah,
People do the
Yes.
gun shit all the time.
Yes.
I
This
get
is-
what you're saying.
It's self-awareness.
It's a weak
Bro,
move.
but you
Weak
can't-
move by the NBA.
Weak.
And now, so I don't like the way that the NBA has handled Ja.
Yeah.
And I don't like the way that they're trying to paint him. And it feels very Allen Iverson-ish.
Yeah.
Like they're just waiting to blackball him. I understand all of that, but now this is understanding the powers that be. We just talked about how it's unfair with the nepotism and all that shit, but that's just the way the world is. You can't change the world. You can't change that these corporations maybe have kind of already put these self-imposed things on you. You put yourself in this position. Before you were doing all the wrong shit with the guns and doing all the extra shit and get caught drinking in the club and looked a certain type of way, the NBA was waiting to prop you up. The NBA put you on the front of everything and gave you every opportunity to succeed. And you seem to be self-sabotaging. And that's something that we see in our community all the time. So we're just going to continue to allow it?
I don't like the way that you said that.
What?
I don't like the way that you said that the NBA gave him all these things. Because actually, let's go back to Anthony Edwards, right?
Okay.
I think we can all agree I'm not the most well-versed sports person on this
Yes.
podcast, right? But Anthony Edwards was talking about how he didn't want to be the face of the league.
Yes.
I'm assuming, based on his actions, that John Morant may not want the same things either.
Yes.
Why do these people have to? I understand that in order to be in the league, you have to conduct yourself a certain way.
Yes.
There's rules to every,
Yes.
like anything, any industry you enter, you have
Yes.
to, there's certain codes of conduct.
Yes.
So to an extent, I understand why this happened, right?
Yes.
But I think that talking about how the NBA gave you all these opportunities and all this different stuff, it kind of devalues the fact that, bro, these people are bringing massive amounts of attention to the league. You know what I'm saying? It's not a one-way street. And I think like if these people, if Ja and Ant don't want to be the face, don't want to be what LeBron currently is, what
Yes.
Michael Jordan was,
Yes.
you know what I'm saying? If they just want to collect their Adidas commercial bag and go, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And do their finger guns, bro, just let them, bro. You know what I'm saying? Bro, they're bringing massive amounts of attention and massive amounts of
Do they
money.
want to push that to the youth?
Bro, from what I saw, he did like this, right?
Yes.
That to me is
And you know that this
that's
dude...
that's a big whatever, bro. I couldn't even tell it was a gun, to be honest.
And
You
From
get,
the
you,
picture-
you
from the
literally
picture
is firing the clip,
From
bro.
the picture, I couldn't even.
So
really
you're saying
tell.
you're cool with this when it looks like he's not learning from any of his mistakes?
I don't expect John Morant to learn from his mistakes.
And you just let him crash out. So you let him keep doing this.
How is pointing a finger gun a crash out?
Because
if he brought a gun into
because there was also
if he
a
brought a
video-
gun to the locker room, then yeah, bro, that's terrible.
He just did that. He just actually pulled a gun on a kid. That's why he got suspended.
You're saying this just happened? Didn't
No,
that
like
happen,
last year.
That's
Yeah,
why he got suspended though, because he clearly is playing with guns.
But that's this is what I'm saying. I'm saying that's true. Yes.
He flashed the gun on Instagram Live.
Yes, bro, we know this. That's
So
why we're in this position.
So this isn't fucking funny.
But I'm saying he didn't bring a gun to the locker room. He didn't point a gun at somebody on the bench. He did finger guns.
But you
It-
don't
it-
need to keep playing with guns.
But you're not playing with guns, you're playing with hands.
yeah,
It's-
exactly.
But what is it insinuating?
It's two different
This
things,
is
bro.
way different than if he went on Instagram and posted the gun again.
But
it's
bro-
way different because I think part of my problem with it is that you use the same word for John Morant doing finger guns and Anthony Edwards irresponsibly bringing 3 children
Yes.
into this world.
Yes.
It's not the same level. These are not just both 2 cases of immaturity.
I
They
agree.
are both 2 cases of immaturity, 100%.
But there's
'Cause
totally
all
different
it
levels.
takes-
What Anthony
Yes,
Edwards is doing
Anthony
is
doing
far
is-
more
I
harmful.
agree.
It's affecting
I agree
lives.
100%.
John Morant is.
I agree 100%.
Pew, 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 pew.
I agree 100%, bro. You are 1,000% right that what Anthony Edwards is doing is way worse than John Morant.
Yeah.
Both are immature. Just because one is more immature doesn't mean that one just isn't. You know what I mean?
But I think what Ja did was immature because it's like, okay, dude, really? Like,
And then I also used a million other words to describe
Okay,
Anthony Edwards.
okay.
Immature, irresponsible, careless, all the fucking things. Stupid, selfish, all of that.
Fair, but I think it stops at immature for Ja. Like he's being like petty. He's like playing with oh, y'all like suspended me for gun shit, so now my celly's a little pew pew pew. It's petty and immature, but to me it's not harmful.
It's stupid as fuck. It's not taking, bro. We have to look at what he could be and what he represents. And I get that you don't want to be the face of the league, but no matter if you do or don't, you represent something more for yourself and your family and the fucking community, bro. You know that people look at you and us a certain way. So you on a nationally televised game, do you have to do that? It's the fact that he doesn't have to do it, and it's seeing another person crashing out, bro, and not learning from their mistakes. And we also are seeing videos of him still going to the club, still drinking during the season. And now it's affecting his play. This is the worst Ja has ever played in the season. This is a problem.
Damn, it feels like Ja Morant's like your son or something.
Bro, because I'm tired.
Passionate about it.
Because I hate seeing someone who has everything in front of them not take the opportunity seriously. And I get it, like he's still going to be a millionaire. He still has all this. But then when you look at Ja Morant in fucking 10, 15 years and he's broke and out of money and the league has kicked him away, you know what I mean? All this bad shit happens and we see Ja Morant is not like doing well. Are we not going to be like, yo, we fucking like, what's it called? Enabled it. Mm-hmm. Like especially with the platform.
I disagree. That's on him. That's on him. His life is on him.
Of course it is.
So it's like he's extremely talented. He got himself in this position, right? He got himself to the most watched, biggest basketball league in the world. You know what I'm saying? So now he has the ball. What's he going to do with it? Looks like he's going to drop it. I don't necessarily think that I don't think the finger guns thing is the biggest thing in the world. We might just disagree on that. You know what I mean? But I do feel differently about you than this. I don't necessarily care too much about what he does with his own opportunity. You feel me? I don't see him as a role model either.
But you want to laugh at it? Is it funny? Is it really funny to you to see someone like just failing?
I think pettiness is funny to me.
No. Watching him fuck up his opportunity is funny?
He didn't fail. He just got fined.
But watching him fuck up his opportunity, this is a bigger problem. We see where this is going.
That's on him.
But is it funny to laugh at? Do you want to laugh at it?
Oh, I'm not laughing at him possibly fucking up the opportunity. I'm just more so if the scenario, I'm not putting that on him. But if the scenario you said down the line is true, where he's out of the league and doesn't have money, I'm not gonna feel bad for him. You feel me? It's like, bro, you had every opportunity.
But how many times has this happened to our people in our community, bro?
I hear you. I just don't think Ja Morant is a role model, and I don't think he represents the black community.
What?
I don't think him solely represents like the black community.
Of course he doesn't.
You're trying to make this a bigger thing than just the finger guns, I feel like.
Because really, this shit happens all the time.
I feel like it's more about an individual rather than like a greater
But
thing.
we see this happen all the time with fucking Ja Morant, with NBA YoungBoy, rappers, artists, fucking athletes, bro. So many people who come from these communities are given this amazing opportunity, and I feel like they don't take it as far as they could. And I feel like when we downplay it and we're like, oh, he's still rich, oh, it's all still gonna be fine at the end of the day, it just kind of sets a bad precedent. And I get that, like, if he fucks up, that is all on him. It is not my job to go fucking save Ja Morant at all. But I also don't want to just make it seem like what he's doing is okay when it's not, and it's fucking stupid.
Yeah, I see. Okay, I do see what you're saying, but what you're saying is a much deeper rooted issue, because it's like,
yes, I agree.
It's like
if
you again, I don't really know where all the people you stated come from, but I'll just assume that they came from backgrounds where they were disenfranchised, right? Where it's like they don't have a lot of money to begin with, and then they're given a whole bunch of money away.
Yes,
it's kind of like what you said earlier. Like,
yes,
there does need to be a system of education, even from like someone like me, bro. I do feel like if I had more financial education, I would be in a better place right now, because I do find myself in a position where I'm making some money now, and I feel like I'm just starting to know how to use it better, right? I think that somebody that doesn't come from any type of money and is given a whole bunch of money at once needs to be put in a situation where they are learning how to manage it if they don't have that education in that background.
Fuck it, let's take it into music. If we want to just really like make it something that we can all understand and relate to, these kids that are getting signed off the streets and labels are putting an insane amount of money in their pockets and giving them no tools or resources to know how to use it. We're just supposed to laugh when they drop a crazy diss track on someone else. And they keep making the same type of music that has constantly got people killed. And we feed into that over and over again, and the same results keep happening.
That feels like a different situation.
Different conversation.
I think my example is, I think there's a difference between John Morant having previous gun problems. The previous things have been major problems, and I agree with you. The finger guns don't bother me because it's like what if Anthony Edwards hit a game winner and as his celly he rocked the baby to sleep? It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny.
No, it's not.
Oh, you don't think so?
No.
Oh, okay.
Because you were just tripping about how it's such a big issue. And so is it really still funny? Because now you laughing at the fucking kid. There's a real kid that is probably never gonna know his dad.
Damn.
And again, that is our. And then if we really want to do it, who's laughing at us? Who is it fucking funny to?
Damn me.
Exactly. And it's not fucking funny at all.
Okay.
This guy's mad passionate about. Miles, I don't want it to be like I don't hear you because I hear you. I just think that these two are just a very funny, like the two people we mentioned in NBA Youngboy are funny people to like hang your hats on. I'm like, bro, these need to be better role models in society. I think when they first all came out the gate, we all knew it's like, bro, these are troubled individuals.
But they're also super talented individuals. And if we're talking about going into these communities and big upping these kids and showing them a different way, show them that you should take your life seriously. When I sit down with artists and I'm talking to them, it's, yo, you're a business. Treat yourself as such. Understand that you're going to be making a lot of money to where you could change yourself and your family's lives.
I agree with you wholeheartedly, but I can't save John Morant, so I'm gonna laugh at the finger guns.
I
can't save a kid, but I can't save John Morant.
It doesn't matter.
If I'm the NBA, I think my solution is to stop covering John Morant so much and talking about the gun stuff and talk about Amin Thompson, someone like that. You know what I'm saying? That like is doing similar amazing things, and you can big up. There's so many other players.
But the solution isn't to get rid of Ja.
I'm not saying get rid of. I'm saying move the spotlight. Because Ja has shown us time and time again, he does not know how to handle the spotlight. So let's move it to one of these other talented individuals that are just as entertaining and that are give them a chance to handle it.
Right, create real role models.
Or create a system where when these kids are coming into the league, there's other NBA players that are speaking with them and actually teaching them about their experiences and how to handle the money better.
You don't think that exists at all?
It does, and it's bad. And they talk about it. There's a rookie summit every year. I watch fucking Gilbert Arenas' podcast because he's talked about this stuff. It's bullshit. No one gives a fuck about it. No one cares about it because they bring in whack people, Poindexters to fucking talk to them, and straight arrow NBA players who these people don't look at as cool. Yeah. But if you bring in Steven Jackson, who comes from their community, if you bring in Gilbert Arenas, who had a gun violence thing, literally fucking changed the entire course of his career. These are people who need fucking help and will actually respect because these niggas are hoopers. But if fucking CJ McCollum is there speaking every year and you see the same problems persisting because no one fucking is a CJ McCollum or respects where he comes from, you're gonna keep ending up with the same results. But rather than completely pointing the finger at John Morant, who grew up in a situation where he never had the tools or resources to understand this, or pointing the finger at Anthony Edwards, who grew up in a single parent home with siblings and never knew his dad, speak about it with people who actually come from these communities. Reform the systems that are, bro.
I agree with all of that.
I just don't think I don't think it's funny because you've literally seen me get mad when I come home or when I'm talking about what's happening with these fucking label meetings, bro, and the type of people that move them in the music industry. Mm-hmm. And it's like, yo, they're laughing at us. Mm-hmm. They don't care about our music being fucking actually intellectual. And like, why can't Mike ever be signed? Why will Mike never be pushed?
But I think you're talking about putting money. You're talking about like funding. It's like an opposite. You're talking about labels funding problematic things that they're laughing at. Yes. Whereas the NBA is fining John Morant. Like, I don't think, like, yes, on this podcast, I said it was funny. I thought the celebration was moderately funny. Yes. And that's probably wrong. Yeah. You've convinced me that it's probably wrong for me to think that way. But I don't think the system is big upping and rewarding Ja for acting this way. Yeah. And that's why I'm like, maybe we also just don't cover it so much. Yeah. I do think there's benefit in that too. Yeah. Like it doesn't, because a lot of the problems that you said is an example, making an example of for kids. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Not that many people watch regular season NBA games. Grizzlies Warriors, that one probably got some view.
The nationally televised games.
But you could in your post game coverage on SportsCenter that night on ESPN socials we could tailor the content. We don't need to post this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It could be quiet.
Yeah.
Oh, he did that. It's fine. It like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, what Spencer's saying is part of the solution too. It's
Yes.
like, what are we choosing to focus on, right? Are we going to continue to focus on problematic players that point finger guns because it's going to get us clicks and engagement? Or are we going to, wait, hold on. Are we going to, as a league, try to help create the role models that we say we want so much, right? Try to create the next LeBron. Why are we focusing on and Ja when there's other talented players in the NBA that maybe they're not as talented? I don't know. But I'm sure that there's other people that they could be highlighting that could be the role models. And then that program, like you said, that program that you were talking about would be way more improved. Because it's like, if we're putting these people in the program, then it's like they're already on TV. You know, people care about what's in front of them and what's on TV.
I don't think Sports Center is talking about it though.
You don't?
I think that platforms like us are talking about it because I think the NBA is on the same.
Where did you see the clip?
On fucking Twitter. I don't even know what account I saw it on.
I definitely saw it on an ESPN account.
Okay, I don't know.
It goes back to a bigger problem with media and coverage. And it honestly goes back to our Bronny thing. When we were talking about Bronny. Because why are we not talking about the Rockets? Why is that not what's on SportsCenter? The Pistons. There are exciting stories in the NBA that center around the game and great playing,
100%.
young developing players like really stepping into their own. But all we want to talk about are the Lakers and Bronny and LeBron and Luka and Ja's problems.
I see a lot about
Ant's
Shea.
problems.
I see a lot about Shea. I see a lot about the Cavs.
The Thunder, a little bit. The Cavs aren't even talked about it enough for being the best team in the NBA.
Yeah.
There are stories here in smaller markets.
There's
the
problems
media
with media coverage.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah,
I
that's
100% agree.
Yeah.
I really think that that's something that needs to be improved in the NBA. I think that the people but then so say you're a Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah.
And you care about Ja as a person and you've interacted with him individually. Is it your duty to speak about it in a certain way when you get on your ESPN platform?
It's a good question. I do think that not speaking about it is the best way to play your part in making an overall change.
So then is Ja just going to walk away thinking that no one cares about it and it's a fine thing to continue to do? Or
No,
should he feel bad about doing it?
No,
or you're saying just let him be fine?
He got fined.
I think
so.
let
him be
let
fine
him be
and not make him
fined.
feel any shame for it. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. What you're saying, I think it actually makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, in my head initially, I'm just like, oh, I think you should make him feel bad about this. And make him feel like, yo, this isn't cool.
Yeah, and I don't know exactly where I fall on that either because I hear you and I kind of agree with that, but also I do think the best way is no attention. And that's the best way to promote a good role model and a good, image to everyone.
Ja's beyond saving, bro. He's a sinner.
Ooh.
You like that transition?
Good transition.
Ah, okay.
Well, take us home now. Get us there.
Oh man. No, I gotta pass it back to Miles, bro.
Niggas get the rock and don't know what to do with it.
Lights got too bright.
Get the rock and don't know what to do, bro.
Lights got too bright.
Yeah, the new movie Sinners is coming out. Something that I can guarantee you I will not be seeing in theaters or streaming in any way. But they're pushing their shit for real. They got a Rod Wave song that made all of us a little bit uncomfortable on stream.
Mm-hmm.
But the two main stars of the movie, Haley Steinfeld and Michael B. Jordan, have been going on their little press run, doing the hot ones, doing the things that co-stars typically do, and people have kind of picked up on a little bit of chemistry between them.
Yeah,
and I'm assuming that in the movie there's a thing between the two of them, and obviously, he's a very prominent sports figure, Josh Allen's fiance. And yeah, it just looks like there might have been some stuff going on behind the scenes. I don't know. I don't want to put that on nobody. Don't want to break up any happy homes or anything like that. But I really just kind of want to ask the question, like, how do you feel if your queen has an intimate sex scene with Michael B. Jordan? Actress, of course.
I'm so glad my girlfriend doesn't act.
Yeah.
I don't think I could do it.
Yeah.
I don't think I could go see your movie and watch you. And the better you are, the worse it is. You know what I mean? Because I'm seeing you fall in love with him, like once every 2 years, a different guy, making out with him on camera, getting all naked. You know,
getting all naked.
I'm so glad I'm not in that situation because I don't think I could handle it.
Yeah.
If my queen was doing a movie with Michael B. Jordan, I think I might arrive on the conclusion that I shouldn't be with actresses.
Do you show up to set during the day that you know they're filming the sex scene?
The hell no.
You can't be there?
No. I'm already out. I've left the city.
How you? I'm in Aruba. What are you doing, Osei?
This is a tough one, right? Because I feel like I've come on this podcast and said some things that would make you think that I answer a certain way. And I've never dated an actor, so I don't know. But I do think that if you meet someone that you really like and eventually love, and you know that they're an actor and you know that they're engaging in these things, it's part of something you sign up for, to be honest. And, while I would prefer for that not to happen, you know what I'm saying? I think that I would have to accept it, to be honest, especially if she's bringing in that bread. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? If you're having a sex scene with Michael B. Jordan and you making hundreds of millions of dollars, heat up that popcorn, baby.
Let's watch it together.
All right, let's watch it together. You feel me?
Yeah.
And let's learn. You know what I'm saying? Let's learn how to, make it a little better.
Shout
out Adam 22.
Let me elaborate on that. So where is that line drawn? Penetration?
Yo.
Because I'm thinking about now we're talking about girls acting and doing sex scenes. How is it that different than?
Well, no.
But that's not real.
And that's what I was gonna say.
Well, the kiss is real.
I don't mind that.
Yeah,
to be honest,
the touching is real.
I thought about this. Because one, your queen, despite all of our best, we want to think that way, has been around, had that type of experience with other people prior to us.
Unfortunately. But
you know what I mean? I don't think that anyone likes to think about it. And I think it's probably more difficult with someone who is an actor, especially a prominent actor. But one, I think that you have to trust in what you're doing at the crib in your off time. You know what I mean? Knowing that this is still someone that I actually get to have these experiences with. This isn't no fake shit, no fugazi. It's not just for the cameras. This is real life and I get to experience these things. One. Two, I think I take the approach of maybe I'm gonna get cool with homeboy who I know she's doing well. I'll probably want to talk to bro, see bro, yo, hey, I'm not no weirdo. I'm not gonna be doing the most, but just let you know, yo, I'm a cool nigga. Do your job or whatever, but you know what I mean?
Think about me. You feel me? Think about
you know
me
what I'm saying?
Think about me while you're doing it.
Hold on, bro. You know what I mean? Don't get excited.
And no, but to build off that point, on a serious note, because you're serious, and I want to get back to being serious. What I don't like is the extras. I'm gonna just say it. I don't like the press run. I don't like it personally. I think that the press run has to exist for sure. But you're running around the Hot Ones table tickling my wife, bro? What are we really doing? What are we really doing?
Another nigga tickles your queen in front of you. How you feel?
You know what I'm saying? And that would make me feel like it's more than just acting, and that is where I draw the line and feel uncomfortable.
I think the stuff that makes you jealous isn't the sex scene stuff. It's wait, why you look happy with this nigga?
Yeah.
Why he make you smile like that? Why you giggle so loud?
Yeah, and damn.
And
Should I speak on that?
There are other ways to do a press run. You don't need to have these two in every single piece of content. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You could frame it with you could bring another one on Hot Ones. It could be another guy.
Also, what is
bring homegirl? Dochi did it with her.
Yeah.
Also, I don't think I like the premise of this movie because now that I'm thinking about it,
this is gonna be an awful movie.
No. Okay, so yeah. So we saw the Rod Wave thing. The movie's about slavery, and it's Michael B. Jordan and this white girl. So it's Get Out, and it's called Sinners.
It's Get Out.
So they're obviously in a relationship. I
hate everything about this movie.
I don't like this, and we need to stop slavery movies, bro. We need to. I think we need to cancel slavery movies.
Yeah,
you know what? It's like how you guys talked about horror movies.
Yeah,
is how I feel about Holocaust movies.
Yes,
slavery movies. I don't know why I would ever put myself through watching something like that.
I agree with you 1,000,000%.
Yeah. There was always that there are always girls when you're going through school that are weirdly into the Holocaust unit. Did you guys experience that?
Girls specifically, no, but people, yes.
I went
know,
to a
I
Jewish
have-
school.
Oh shit.
Wait, I didn't hear that. Sorry, I missed it.
I went to a Jewish school.
Oh yeah.
I don't
yeah,
know.
Maybe you didn't
That
experience
wasn't
it.
their bag.
But
definitely.
there's like a pocket of like 4 girls in my like 6th, 7th grade, whenever we were learning about the Holocaust, that like did the extra. Like, yeah, we did Anne Frank for school, but like the boy in the striped pajamas was like extracurricular. You know what I mean? Like they're doing all the extra Holocaust reading. I'm like, why are you so interested in this?
I was gonna say, bro, like I'm depressed enough in my own life. I don't need a movie to make me feel bad about some shit that I literally have no control over.
Yeah.
So I don't do that. I don't do horror movies. But then I do like I think some of the best movies are those movies that like walk away like the ending isn't happy. You know what I mean? Like I can't lie, like there is those are more thought provoking.
Yeah.
But yeah, you gotta pick your poison with those.
Did
Yeah,
you
because
like?
I did like Oppenheimer.
Or what's the one, Manchester by the Sea?
Haven't seen it.
Or Iron Claw, the one with Zac Efron about
Oh,
the
I hated that
wrestlers.
movie. I hated that movie.
You know, but
Did you like Honora?
I thought Honora was literally one of the worst movies I've seen in a very long
I
time.
hated Honora.
Honora was
I watched it
terrible.
last week, and I was so pissed when
I
I,
felt
was done
nothing.
with it.
I felt nothing.
Because I heard your critiques of it, and I'm like, okay, that's just Miles. Like, we don't have the same taste in a lot of
Miles
stuff.
was right.
Miles was so right.
That's
Honora, did you watch it?
I did.
Did you like it?
I don't hate it like everyone else does. I was a little confused by why it was like so. It won so many awards, but yeah.
To me, I was not surprised by one thing that happened in that movie.
You know, like what are we talking
The
about?
entire movie was so predictable from the first 5 minutes. There was not one surprise.
Okay.
There were mad boring scenes where I was just sitting there like, yo, can we get to the next scene, please? The acting was solid. I think
Homegirl was good. Mickey,
Homegirl was good. And also the guy, the Russian dude, was great to me. I thought he was super funny.
Yeah.
But like, what? I watched that and I was like, damn, that was a waste of time. And I went in with high expectations. I love film festival movies. I love art films. I love Oscar films. This was so disappointing to me.
I thought it was an interesting story though.
Why?
I just don't think that. I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that.
girl in a compromised position falls in love with a rich guy.
No, like the specific story about like maybe like the underground entertainment industry and what these girls go through. To be honest, I don't know. I haven't seen many movies on that.
You ain't seen Boogie Nights?
No.
Or fucking even the Equalizer. The first one is kind of.
Is Pretty Woman the same type of time or no?
I haven't seen Pretty Woman.
That's
Or what about The Nice Guys? Is it kind of? Can you kind of put it in this or no?
I can't remember what The Nice Guys is about.
A homegirl dies at the beginning. She's an adult film star. It's fine.
I feel you.
But I feel like
It is like conceptually I was interested because you don't get a lot of. There's not a lot of strip club and like that kind of movies, you know. So I am interested in that, and that's not a life that I live. So it's interesting from that point of view. I'm just like, make it more interesting. Do it better.
You know what I also thought was interesting, and maybe I'm giving this too much credit, but I did think the commentary on class was interesting, right? Because if you look into it, like she's Russian, right? Like her grandmother's Russian,
Yeah.
and she's like poor Russian that lives in Jersey, and this dude is like a Russian like oligarch or like super rich dude, and you're kind of seeing like how two people from the same place like are ending up in completely different situations. You know what I mean? I thought that was like a clever like a way to talk about class, but I don't know. Hey, it won the award, so it doesn't really matter what we say. You feel me? I liked it.
That shit late.
You're telling me that was
He
better
ain't
than Dune 2?
He ain't like that movie.
Dune 2 was.
You like horny movies. You like
What-
this. You
what-
like Challengers. I'm just thinking about like the
Challengers
ones
was
you-
good.
Ah,
Challengers was
okay.
good.
Like,
Challengers was really good.
I could see you. I could see how you're cornering me into this motif, but no, I think I just like both those movies.
Okay.
Name one other horny movie, then maybe you got me.
I haven't heard you talk about any other movies. Those are the only two movies I've ever heard you talk about. You know what I mean? Wow. We gotta talk about another movie, maybe. If the next movie you bring up is horny, I think. you deserve to be
I think if
corny.
the next movie I bring up is a horny movie, then that's fine.
The next movie you defend.
Yeah.
But yeah. Hopefully, no one is ever running around the Hot Ones table tickling my queen. that's my big takeaway from that.
So we talked about it as an actress, but I was thinking about it like, what if you're dating like an R&B singer and she comes out with a song akin to like The Weeknd by SZA? You know what I mean? Talking about like fucking this dude on the side, or like fuck this guy, or even something tamer, just like
don't give a fuck.
Do I want to be different? You don't give a fuck?
I'm not even thinking about it. Because again, like she probably gonna play the shit for me when we hanging out.
Yeah.
If I know I'm picking you up from the studio, whatever, you know, we hanging out all the time, we going on dates. If I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, these is past experiences you're talking about.
Well, I would want more details. Because I would be like, did you write the song? If you wrote the song, what is it about? Who is it about? Yeah. I think that's more, because I think like it's the conversation where it's like in a relationship you want complete like openness and honesty.
Yeah.
And if it's a story you haven't heard or you're not familiar with, then it's like you're a little bit confused and you're left like wondering what that situation is about, or is it about your situation? You know, I think a conversation before or at least during would be helpful.
But what if you have?
I feel away.
A conversation is necessary.
Why?
It's like, because it's like if I wrote and recorded a song about being like extremely depressed and ready to end it all.
Yes.
And my girlfriend, and I don't tell my girlfriend about it, and she just hears it. She's gonna be like, yo, are these current feelings? Are these past feelings? This is important.
I agree.
You know what I mean? That's the same. It's the same.
But if she's having a relationship song about doing this, and that, but I know what you're doing day to day, really, and I know what we're doing and how we are, then I don't really ask those questions.
If I wrote a song that said, you know, after you fall asleep, I sneak out and fuck my side bitch, and then I sneak back in and I open the door quiet so you don't hear me, like, she's gonna hear that and she's gonna like need an explanation.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, what is this about?
For
you know
sure.
what I mean?
In that like super hyper specific situation, yes. But I don't think like, I don't really care. Like about that shit, I don't know. I don't really have those questions.
I don't really care either. Like it's different than the actress girl, because that is in your face, and that would I would try my best to say the good word in my head, but like it would bother me to see it.
Yeah.
So I do agree with you, but I also agree with Osei where I'm gonna ask about it. We are gonna talk about it. Mm-hmm. You're probably gonna say past experience, or oh no, I'm just making this up as something that's relatable for my fans, and I'm gonna say, do you ever feel this way? Like, can we? Should I work on something? Is there any inkling of truth here? And she might be like, no, and I'll be like, okay, cool.
That maybe that is maybe like the most I would go if the song is really like on some wild shit.
Yeah,
but I think like my R&B songstress could probably do whatever she wanted.
Songstress,
I wouldn't really care too much. Speaking of R&B songstresses, there's going to be a lot of them at Coachella.
Yeah, there are.
Are we excited for that? Are we? I think Osei's the only one that's going.
Yeah, I'm going for a day, going on Friday. Am I excited? I don't necessarily like work with an artist that is like on the lineup per se. The artist that I'm going for is doing the Red Bull tent. Or I guess that's part of it. That's part of the experience. My fault. But it's a relatively new relationship. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited to go and meet her and meet the team and like get closer. I don't know if I'm excited for Coachella because I know I don't got a place to stay. So I'm going to do that and then have to drive all the way back. You feel me? And hit my bed. You know, so I'm not necessarily excited for all that. If I was staying there, if it was guaranteed like, yo, free food, free wristbands everywhere, of course I'd be excited. You know, I wouldn't even care who's performing. But for me, I'm like, I'm really just going for that one relationship. Yeah. And then I'm dipping out. So
fair.
Yeah, I'm not interested in Coachella this year at all. It didn't grab me. My experience at Coachella didn't make me love the festival or super passionate about the festival either. It was just cool to me.
Yeah. I looked at the lineup again and I actually think it's going to be a really good show. I think they did get a lot of people that cater to live performance because I think about the stance I took on Rolling Loud and I don't think I can just hate everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I do think that because I look deeper in this lineup and I'm like, okay, there are some really intriguing shows here globally, you know, like the Rema set is going to be incredible. They have like, it's not for me, but I remember when my Coachella experience, I did see Blackpink and I was really impressed. It was my first time ever seeing them. They do have Jenny solo. They do have Lisa solo. You know what I mean? They have 2hollis performing, which is going to be a great show. There's smaller groups like Glass Beams, who's like a really cool like indie rock thing that never tours. Like they do find ways to get really good shows that you won't normally see.
Yeah.
Like I think back to Jai Paul or J Paul.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
It's an experience.
you know what I mean? Yeah. So I think I was a little too harsh on the lineup when it dropped, just because it comes out and you see what like Post Malone, Green Day, and I forgot who the other one was, and you're like, oh okay, well I didn't care about Green Day since I was 12, and Post Malone I've seen 100 times. You know what I mean? But when I got into those liner notes, I was like, oh, this is gonna be a good festival. I would like to go to Coachella every year, to be honest, because I really enjoyed our experience, Miles. Like I think a lot about our Coachella, my one and only Coachella, and how crazy of an experience that was. Because we were in the mansions, going to the brand activations, taking Uber Blacks everywhere, going in the artist section, you know, as like a 23-year-old who had never been to Coachella.
Same.
You know what I mean? Like my mom had recently stayed in Palm Springs and was talking about the location. And I was reminiscing on that experience, and I was like, wow, that was actually really fly, the way that we were moving around. I think Coachella is really great if you have access to a lot of the events and like a place to stay. You know what I mean? It's a different kind of festival than the ones that we grew up going to. But as like an industry person, I would love to go back to Coachella and have access to everything.
Yeah. I love concerts.
Yeah.
So I think that my Coachella criticism is literally like a this year thing. Because I do think that 90% of years it hits.
Yeah.
And there's at least, if you give me a music festival and there's like 6 to 8 people I'm excited about, it's a dub. I want to go. I want to see it. Because when am I ever going to get to see that many people I like in such a short amount of time?
Yeah.
And especially with Coachella, you know, people are going to do up the performance, really do it all justice. I think that after having that experience, I feel like I saw a bit of the other side of Coachella, that access industry side.
Yeah.
And I don't think I crave that again.
Yeah.
I just want to see a dope show
Fair.
close by. So I think I'll definitely, I check for Coachella every year.
Yeah.
That will never change. That will always be a festival that I put the utmost respect on.
Yeah, because to be honest, like the infrastructure of Coachella is unlike anything I've ever seen. The scale of it, like we've been in like the artist compounds at these other festivals, and they're normally just smaller sections of trailers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Coachella, it's this sprawling thing. I remember stumbling across this massive pond in the artist compound where you can walk around this pond and take pictures, and it's like a city.
I was gonna say it feels very it feels like a different world out there. It feels like people go to Coachella and like just detach from reality for a couple of days.
Yeah.
I love that about that it's not in a city, it's remote.
Yeah.
And I also like, I would like the plans fell through, but I was helping coordinate a massive event at Coachella. You know what I mean? A year ago. And so I got to see how much money these brands are willing to pay labels to bring talent in and partner with to throw these things. It's the biggest event.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And people like pour money into it and rent these mansions. There's nothing really like it.
And I love the Rolling Loud thing because I think they're actually opposite into the spectrum.
Yeah.
Where it's like Rolling Loud, I think some of the performances and the vibes fall a little bit flat because it's young kids who maybe don't fully appreciate it, are now super on their phones filming everything, not just like they don't know how to act all the way yet. And it does feel a little bit memeish. Whereas Coachella almost feels like there's an inaccessibility to it, and where it's like a very rich people industry type of vibe, as opposed to something that like a real fan of music is going to be at, you know?
I was 100% with you until you said a real fan of music.
Yeah.
Because I do think there are rich people that are real fans of music.
Yes,
You know
yes,
what
of
I mean?
course, yes, of course. Yes, of
Like
course.
and
the
I do-
average music listener.
And I
maybe.
do think Coachella caters a little bit more towards what I grew up in my festival experience being, which is, oh, we're going to this different location, we're camping. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of how we're getting an Airbnb, doing drugs. You know what I mean? Like we're just all in it for like 3 days.
But didn't it feel very like, it felt wealthy?
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Being in Palm Springs feels wealthy.
You know, and I did get a little bit of that energy that I didn't like all the way love from it.
That's totally fair.
You know, like that, I think that did kind of throw me a little bit. One that I want to go to this year that I feel like is, I think Flogna's a good in between the two of those, and Lollapalooza.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that one, and Governor's Ball. I want to see that one too.
Yeah.
I feel like those are some that are more my speed without being the Rolling Loud, Coachella, which I think are like the opposite ends of the spectrum. But
yeah, I like those. There's a new festival called Waterfront in San Diego.
Okay.
Have you guys seen that lineup or heard anything about it?
No.
I wish I could tell you the lineup. All I can remember right now is like Anderson .Paak and the Free Nationals are doing it.
That's why you was like, we gotta go.
The whole lineup is gas, and San Diego is such a chill city. That's one I wanted to go to, and I also want to do EDC once. As somebody that doesn't listen to dance music, I do want to see that.
That's Vegas. My people's
Yeah.
going crazy over it. They're like, you have to go. You have to go.
I mean, it's like the way that dance acts do up lighting and set design because they're not performing.
Yeah.
It does feel like a spectacle, and I would like to see it.
Yeah, I'd be tired. I think I'm getting into that point with these festivals where it's like, unless I have accommodations, like I really have to get my mindset right to be like, I'm gonna be in pain for several hours.
Oh, Coachella fucked everything up.
Yeah.
My first time I got that artist wristband, it fucked everything up for every festival going forward forever.
Yeah,
Which sucks, but I'm gonna need that VIP at least.
you know what I mean, bro? Because I'm not trying to stand in the back of the back.
Yeah.
And not even like I'm one of the people that has to be close to the stage. Because if I'm like watching it from afar, it's like, well, you could have just watched this shit on fucking live stream.
Yeah.
Like, I want to actually see the artist, understand and digest the stage design, all that shit, bro. And if you're mad far away, you can't even see that shit. But
Yeah, you need that artist wristband.
shout out Coachella. Say we'll be our representative there. If you see him, give him a hug. Say hi, man. Let him know. But yeah, I think this was great, man. I'm excited to enter this new era with all of you guys. We appreciate you guys for rocking with us for so long. We're going to continue to bring you great content. We give you some game, you know? Really
Yeah.
educate the viewer, man. But appreciate y'all for watching, man. Like, share, comment, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend.
Yeah.
Catch y'all on next one. Peace.